A bright spark flared across the screen. "You see that?" "A solar flare," said Jameson, though something about it looked off. Dark Margins presents tonight's story, Solar Solutions Limited, by Ian Hand. Part 1. What the tup? Jameson watched the giant freighter drift into the docking bay. This was the fourth one this week, up by a quarter in the last 2 cycles. Unbelievable. How could they make so much waste? They'd tried burying it, they'd tried burning it, they'd tried recycling it, but still, it kept coming. Freighter after freighter, cycle after cycle, each one half the size of a city. It kept him in a job, he supposed, but still. And it kept him as far away from Earth as he could get, which was the important part. And if they ever perfected time travel, he'd go for that too. She'd always been a tup in Doxy. How could she? And with his best mate. It wasn't like he slapped her around all the time, just once or twice. He was welcome to her, that Pontius Doma. They deserved each other. The freighter's loading bay slid open. It always amazed him that something that enormous made no noise, or none that he could hear. In space, no one can hear you scream, or groan, or squeal. He wondered if she was doing any of those things while his best mate was pounding her back on Earth. He'd seen the job ad on the neural net and applied straight away. Waste Management Executive. Your chance to travel and save the planet. Stup the planet. They could drown in their own filth for all he cared. But millions of miles away. That sounded perfect. And so here he was, millions of miles from home, in charge of Earth's refuse, on Venus. Tyrrell leaned through the hatch. "You gotta see this, man." "Another batch of defunct sex androids," said Jameson, not turning. "No, come on," Tyrrell insisted. Jameson sighed and followed him across the gantry into one of the larger silos. The dome was vast, filled with piles of scrap metal, molded plastic, rusted exosuits, household waste, and the occasional antique sofa set from some long-forgotten council office. "There," said Tyrrell, pointing at a half-buried metal case, about the size of a large toolbox, marked with rusted clasps and the unmistakable yellow and black trefoil of radioactive material. They clambered down the ladder and waded through the junk. Jameson knelt beside it. Oh, Thark. That wasn't all. Scattered nearby were centrifuges, cracked beakers, digimetric scales, chrome trays, and pieces of unfamiliar biotech. It looked like someone had chucked an entire black market chem lab in with the general waste. And there, 3 barrels, orange, big, each one stenciled with the triple crescents of biohazard. Tyrrell stepped back. "What the sunspot's tits is this doing here?" His voice hollow in the massive silo. Jameson shook his head. "There are protocols, levels, manifests. This should have been neutralized on Earth." "So, what do we do?" Jameson looked at the barrels, the box, the scattered equipment. "We do what we're paid to do," he said. "We shoot the lot into the sun." Tyrrell hesitated. "But it's going to be incinerated at 10 million degrees, said Jameson. "What harm can it do? It'll be like a fart in a thunderstorm." Part 2. Solar Flatulence. The interplanetary tug pulled the massive container out of the Venusian Bay and launched it into orbit. It drifted a few seconds before the retro thrusters kicked in, guiding it towards its destination, the heart of the sun. They couldn't launch waste directly from Earth. Something to do with escape velocities, planetary alignment, gravitational pull, blah, blah, blah. That's where Solar Solutions Limited came in. Venus had become the staging post for Earth's filth, a halfway house for rubbish awaiting a fiery demise. It had worked well for decades. Until now. From the observation deck, Jameson and Tyrrell watched the container's trajectory. A bright spark flared across the screen. "You see that?" said Tyrrell. "A solar flare," said Jameson, though something about it looked off. The flare grew, twisting like a tongue of plasma across the corona. Then another one erupted, then another, too fast, too erratic. "Computer," Jameson barked. "Confirm solar event." "System anomaly. Unknown activity." "Great," muttered Jameson. "That's never good." Hours later, the compound's outer perimeter sensors went down. Then the internal motion detectors began to ping. At first, they thought it was a system glitch from the flare, until the screaming started. Schenker from Cargo Team 4 was the first to go, torn in half in the lower deck, his remains scattered across the food replicator room. Security camera footage showed the culprit, a mass of tangled wires, broken chairs, food packaging, and polyform sheeting. It moved like a jellyfish, but with claws. And it wasn't alone. Blaze, Dada, and Chong were next, cornered in the rec room, each one eviscerated and dismembered. They came crawling, slithering, oozing from the silos, monsters born of rubbish, rage, and consequence. A cosmic reckoning. Skins of stretched bin liners, stitched together with zippers, cables, and dental floss. Jaws of cutlery, snapped engine parts, and splintered toothbrushes gnashing like teeth. Inside, their bodies glowed with a strange green energy, pulsating like a heartbeat. "They're evolving," Jameson whispered, staring at the screen. "Absorbing the waste, making bodies from it." Part 3. Meet the new boss. What remained of the crew barricaded themselves in the launch terminal. The others were either dead or lost, presumed dead. The lights flickered above them, casting long shadows across the metal floor. Tyrrell patched into the outbound ship logs. No, don't tell me." "What?" asked Jameson. "There's a supply run scheduled. Launching imminently." On screen, the feed from Bay 3 showed shapes moving in the shadows. One of the creatures, a spidery-looking thing built from irrigation tubes and half-inflated medical gloves, was climbing into the cargo hold. Others followed. "They're going back," whispered Tyrrell. "They're hitching a ride back to Earth." He hammered frantically on a keypad. "Tup me, they're already crawling over the Thark Dam ships." "Abort the launch," January cried, hands flying across her console. "We can still stop them." "I'm trying," Tyrrell shrieked, working the keypads. "We've got 20 seconds. Thwack! The heavy spanner caught Tyrrell across the temple. He slumped sideways in his seat, blood already leaking down his cheek. Everyone froze. Jameson stood over him, panting, spanner in hand. "No," he said. "Let them go." "What the veck, Jameson?" January screamed. "You killed him! You spuzzin' killed him!" "They're leaving. We're alive. That's all that matters." "But they're heading to Earth." "They're not my stuppin' problem anymore." Jameson raised the spanner again. "Anyone else want to argue?" No one moved. The ships lifted off. Through the viewing port, they could see the figures, dozens of them, clinging to the hulls like parasites, wings of tattered polyfilm flapping behind them. As they watched, a power surge rolled through the station. The room plunged into darkness. The emergency lighting clicked on. One by one, the monitors flickered back to life. They showed corridors going dark, doors bursting open, shadows shifting. On camera 9, inner deck access, the creature appeared. Twice the height of a man, its limbs were scaffolding poles and shredded oil-stained tarps. Its torso pulsed with chain-linked fencing, crushed glass, and something that looked like breathing cling film. Its head was a mass of broken crockery, twisted dental chairs, and mannequin limbs. And where its face should be, two dark, glassy rectangles. Black 98-inch TV screens. "Thark's ring piece," January whispered. "This can't be happening." Jameson's voice was quieter now, almost broken. "It's the boss." The doors behind them shuddered. Something massive was coming along the outer corridor. "Everyone, run!" January screamed. Jameson turned, but the creature was already there, ripping through the bulkhead like it was paper. Its arms flexed. Something clicked open in its chest, an industrial maw lined with whirring blades. From out of the gaping hole, a tangle of chain tendrils spewed, clamping Jameson around the arms and neck, reeling him in like a prize tuna. The last thing Jameson saw was his own screaming face reflected in the black mirror eyes of the creature, as it was ripped clean from his skull. Epilogue. Location: Earth. Night. An industrial freight yard somewhere outside Jakarta. A dense fog clung to the tarmac. Sodium lights flickered overhead. A cargo rocket hissed as it lowered onto a rust-streaked landing cradle, steam venting from its hydraulic pistons. The yard was mostly empty, just a single bored technician in a yellow vest, eating chicken wings and scrolling on his tablet. He looked up briefly, then went back to his screen. From the body of the spacecraft came a faint, wet, dragging sound that echoed around the compound. One by one, slime-black hands emerged from the darkness. Fused metal fingers, plastic shopping bags strung like tendons between bones of twisted coat hangers and syringes. The creatures began to crawl off the hull. First a small one, dragging a garden hose like an umbilical cord. Then another, a heap of scorched microwaves, hospital curtains, and fused packing foam. Then, the boss. It lingered in the shadows, its cold black screen eyes mirroring the technician's glowing, unsuspecting face. Behind it, a train of monsters lurched, scuttled, and slid their way down the ship, onto Earth. They were home.